We're doing it. We're here. I'm here. I'm here. I made it. Okay? Welcome. So on today's video, we're going to talk about chord extensions and exactly what the heck chord extensions even are. What are chord extensions? Why? Here's why. Well, I'll tell you. So this video will strictly be a theory video explaining, well, the theory behind chord extensions. All right, so chord extensions are chords that are above the 7th chord. So the 9th, 11th, and 13th chord. And the 7th chord is not considered a chord extension because the 9th, 11th, and 13th are built off of the 7th chord. We'll set that aside for a moment. We'll get back to that. But first we'll break down what the 9th, 11th, and 13th chord is even referring to. So chords are built off of scale degrees of any given scale, right? And those scale degrees go up to 7. So where does 9, 11, and 13 even come from? I'm about to tell you, so listen up. If we look at our notes 1 to 7 and then keep repeating those notes and lining them up back to back, we can now count past 7. And these notes will repeat, but we could count past 7. So let's count past those 7 and see what the 9, 11, and 13 is even referring to. So let's do that first for the 9th chord, right? And we'll do that in the A major key, for example. So when we count to 9 in our note arrangements here, we see that we land on the B note. And when we look at the B note in our regular 1 to 7 notes, we see that the B note is the 2nd degree of the scale. And so the 9th degree is really referring to the 2nd degree of any given scale, which it is any given scale. That's going to work the same way despite any key that you're in. So if you're in F major, whatever it is, the 9th degree will always be the same note as the 2nd degree. So let's do the same thing with the 11th chord. So when we count to 11, we see that we land on the D note. And when we compare that to the regular 1 to 7 notes, we see the D note is the 4th degree of the scale, which means the 11th degree is referring to, I got a hair in my eye. An eyelash just flew into my eyeball. This is so rude. So the 11th degree is referring to the 4th degree of the scale. And so now let's do the same thing with the 13th chord. And so when we count to 13 in our note arrangement here, we land on the F sharp note. And when we look at our notes from 1 to 7, we see that the F sharp note is the 6th degree of the scale, which means the 13th is referring to the 6th. Again, across any key, okay. And so why do we call these scale degrees 9, 11, and 13 in these types of chords? Why don't we just call them 2, 4, and 6? That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? But no. So that circles back to what I said about chord extensions being built off of the 7th chord. By calling these chords 9th, 11th, and 13th, we are implying that those chords include the 7th degree. So all these chord extensions are really the 7th chords with either a 2, 4, or 6th degree added to it. So if we take, for example, the C major 13 chord, that theoretically implies that that is a 7th chord, right? A major 7th chord with the added 6th degree. And the same is true for all the other chord extensions. And the reason these chord extensions are 9, 11, and 13 and not 12 or 14 or whatever is because chords are built by moving up the scale in increments of 3. So a basic chord is made up of the 1st, 3rd, and 5th degree. So if we break that down, we have the 1, right? Then we have 1, 2, 3, that's a 3rd. 3, 4, 5, that's another 3rd, right? So when we expand past that, we have 5, 6, 7 to count for our 7th chords. 7, 8, 9, right? 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 13. Thirds, it's all thirds. And we stop at 13 because if we go past that, we get to 15, right? And 15 is really referring back to the 1st degree of the scale. So it just repeats itself. So that's why these extensions stop at 13 because it's kind of the last stop. It's the last stop in the extension train, you know? And now just like every other chord, there are formulas that make up the 9th, 11th, and 13th chord. So let's go over them, shall we? I'm gonna cross my legs for that. So each of these chord extension formulas are actually built off of the formula of the chord extension that comes before it. Stick with me. And just like a 7th chord, the 9th, 11th, and 13th could be either major, minor, or dominant. So let's break them down. This might be a little long, but let's just do it. We have time, right? We have time. So the major 9th chord formula is made up of a 1st degree, a 3rd, a 5th, a 7th, and a 9th degree. A minor 9th is the 1st, flat 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, and 9th. A dominant 9th is 1st, 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, and 9th. The major 11th chord formula is a 1st degree, 3rd, 5th, 9th, and 11th. The minor 11th chord formula is a 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 9, 11. The dominant 11th chord is made up of the 1, 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, 9th, and 11th degree of a scale. And the major 13th chord is made up of a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. You see where I'm going? You see where I'm going? Minor 13th is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 9, 11, 13. A dominant 13th chord is a 1st, 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, 9th, 11th, and 13th. Woo, we made it. We made it. So did we see the little pattern there? Right? How all the chord formulas, are built off of the last one. Did you see it? And now in practice, we wouldn't be able to play all these notes because that would be crazy. So we tend to drop some of these notes in these formulas to actually be able to play them on the guitar. But you have to always include the 7th scale degree in your chord because then it's not a real chord extension. Because, like I said, circling back to the beginning, chord extensions are built off of the 7th chord. Doo-doo. So for example, if you're trying to play a C major 9 chord, but you didn't include the 7th, you would really just be playing a C add 9 chord. So the 7th degree is critical in our chord extension chords. So I just like to think of chord extensions as 7 chords, to be honest with you. That's probably wrong. It's wrong. I like to make up my own terms for music theory. What? So that's it, guys. That's the theory of chord extensions. I hope that was helpful and not confusing. Tune in next time on Sesame Street. Chord extensions are confusing and weird. Who likes chord extensions? Nobody. I'll go now. I'll go. I promise. I promise I will leave your screen. Forget that I'm like in someone's like screen right now. I'm gonna go for real this time. I'm gonna go for realsy peelsies. I'm